So I'm here at the Winter Gardens. It is the start of the quarter-finals. It's been a fantastic week so far, but we've got plenty more to come, and it's been difficult without Harry. I'm missing him, but we'll see how today goes.
Indeed, I'm back.
Oh my!
I'm right in time for the quarterfinals as well.
Timing is everything.
And honestly, I cannot wait for the quarterfinals done. Two cracking matches. What's my take on next, and then taking them to meet number one.
It's going to be an action-packed night of darts. In the studio to review the matches that were, and first up was Ross Smith versus James Wade, and we said earlier James Wade just seemed to step in the time machine. I know it's called a machine, but this was a classic James Wade performance in terms of when he won back in 2007, in my opinion.
I remember you saying that, I remember saying to you, before the game that James Wade, if he was going to win this game, would have to be fantastic on the finishing, and we always know that in games that he has been in that. But this time, it was a case of the scoring was there, the finishing was there. It was like, as you say, the James Wade that won the World Matchplay in 2007, the James Wade that's won 9-10 major titles.
Yeah, and to kick it all off, he kicked off with a 180, and it was one of them, we go, that seems significant of the story of the match, and the guy who we were saying may not score the most 180s actually scored the most 180s. It's
because he was playing a player as well that had hit 13 180s in his match prior to this game against Gerwin Price. So you're all thinking that Ross Smith is going to be the one that's going to be scoring the heavy of the two players in the game, but it was the complete opposite. And James Wade, he'd hit 2 180s or 3 180s before this game today, the game yesterday, I should say, and he ended up hitting 13 overall in the match.
Yeah, and Ross tried to get himself back into the game. There was some fantastic outshots, and even broke the James Wade throw. But James was able to break straight back, nullified in the breaker throw, and just kept creeping towards that magic number.
The breaks of throw that Ross Smith was getting was, in my eyes, well, you'd say they're pointless because obviously what you've got to do is, if you break, you've got to hold your throw instantly to make it. Yeah. To make it worth it, and Ross Smith just couldn't do that. And there was a moment in the game where James Wade hit 4 legs straight, 2 ton-plus finishes as well, and I asked him about that in the press conference after the match, and here's a clip of that now.
Fantastic performance.
Thank you very much, Harry.
There was raw emotion for you when you hit the 1-2-1.
Yeah.
Did you feel that was a turning point?
I felt I got too excited, I thought when I hit the 1-2-1, I was like, I'll give it the big one, and I was like, oh, bloody hell, why have I done that? And then he come back at me, and I was like, you should have just kept quiet, just got on with it. But then also he replied with quite a vocal, liberal celebration, so that made me feel a little bit better.
And this is going to be your 9th World Matchplay semi-final. Do you feel that the experience that you've got in this stage of the competition will play crucial for you in the stages?
What I've said in earlier interviews, throughout the week, I don't believe that makes a difference anymore. I really don't. Years and years ago, you play someone like, I don't know, a player that hasn't done quite as much, and you got to play him in the semis, and you thought, I'll do you. But now it's a little bit different. At the end of the day, I've got someone that's won multiple TV tournaments and the world champion, ex-world champion. So it's hopefully they'll wear themselves out, and and we'll see, won't we? Thank you very much, sir.
So, yeah, he didn't want to celebrate. He gave it the big one, but then kind of said to himself, might have gone a bit too early here. But then Ross Smith celebrated likewise with a bit more vigour. Classic.
We've seen that all through the tournament.
Yeah. And James Wade kind of realised he hasn't got the game to catch me in this particular moment. Ross Smith is a tremendous player, and that performance against Gerwyn Price was spectacular, but he just couldn't get over the James Wade throw.
I think he'd given himself a bit too much to do. There was a stage in the match where it was 11-6 or 11-7, and to be 4 legs behind against James Wade is never easy, because James is one of those players that's never going to give up his throw that easily, and he'll know what's at stake, and getting ahead at that moment in the match was very important.
Massive. And if we have a look at the stats there, you can see James Wade with 13 180s compared to Ross's measly 10.
It's not good enough, is it?
No. But if you look elsewhere in the scoring, 140 is pretty much the same, Ton's pretty much the same. So in the scoring aspect, pretty much equal. And if you look at the averages, they're pretty much equal. But I think, as you said, it was that 4-leg spell where James Wade just couldn't be touched, and then he was just doing enough to win his throw, or again break back, as we've mentioned earlier. But Ross just couldn't capitalise on the breaks he made to then try and make a charge towards him. But eventually, James Wade gets over the line in a 16-10, and congratulations to James Wade.
Many congratulations. A 9th World Matchplay semi-final for the machine, and he's going to take some stopping if he performs like he did yesterday in his semi-final.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll move on to the next match. So the guys at Red Dragon Darts have been extremely busy. They've got their new range of products endorsed by the current world champion Luke Coolhand Humphries. They've got the World Champion Tour Polo. They've also got the new Optimus set. New Cool Hand Dartboard Surround. They've also got the new Cool Hand Dart Case by Stone 2. And the Cool Hand Luke Humphries Flight Collection. And introducing the Airwing Moulded Flight Technology, endorsed by Cool Hand Luke Humphries by Red Dragon. So, moving on to the second of the quarterfinals, and we have a repeat of the UK Open final earlier this year. You have Luke Humphries, the world champion, versus the UK Open champion in Dimitri Vandenberg. And as we said earlier, there was going to be maybe some shenanigans, but thankfully it was kept to a minimum, if there was any at all.
You wouldn't really, with Luke Humphries, one thing I've noticed since he's had his rise up in the PDC, obviously he was really good on the Euro Tour, and you saw him on winning the Grand Slam, the Grand Prix, the Players' Championships, even and the Worlds, of course. And one thing I've noticed with every time he won the competition was that he was always gracious in defeat. He was always conducting himself in a polite manner, and thinking of needling a match with a match with Luke Humphries just seems a bit odd, because I just wouldn't see it in his character to be able to do something like that.
No. And it was a very close affair between the two. Dimitri's 180s, when he's playing at that regular speed, and it's been mentioned before, he's a better player. When
Definitely.
he slows down himself, that's when there is issues.
Yes, and Dimitri would have had the confidence going into the match with Luke Humphries on the back of hitting a 9-darter against Martin Schindler, the performance against Johnny Clayton as well, because Clayton was coming into this match play in fantastic form himself, but Dimitri outscored him in the last 16 tie. So the belief in himself would have definitely been there, and it showed earlier in the match.
Yes, but then as the game went on, Luke Humphries' confidence and ability just went up. He went through the gears, essentially.
Yes.
And some of them checkouts were outstanding.
From 11-9, I think he said in his post-match interview that he would have even admitted himself that he wasn't playing well, but there was a sort of want to get the job done after at that scoreline, and a 164 checkout, as you mentioned. The scoring was there as well. The door was completely shut on Dimitri Vandenberg, and I made reference to that in the post-match interview, and here's a clip from that now.
But
He probably deserves, just because he's not a massive 180 hitter and stuff like that, but you get the respect from me and a lot of the top pros, because he deserves all the accolades he's got. And he won many majors in an era where Phil Taylor stopped a lot of people actually winning, so he's got my respect anyway.
Luke, fantastic performance tonight.
Obviously, when it was 11-9, you said that you weren't playing that well, but including that 1-6-4 finish, you could say that you shut the door completely on Dimitri towards the end of the match.
Yeah, I did. I think after 11-9, I went off to the break and I felt, I wasn't playing my best, but I thought just kick in and just, couple of big legs. It can really close the game here. And I can't remember where it went, but I think I went 13-10 up, didn't I? And I thought, right, this is your chance now to really close it out. And, that 1-6-4 was the defining factor to really shut the door in his face, to be honest. And, I thought, you got 4 legs here to close the game out, and obviously really pleased to do it in that 26th leg. But he played a great part. He played a fantastic game, but unfortunately for him, in that last session after the 20th leg, he was rubbish. He didn't play his best, and I was just much better.
And you mentioned and obviously you've had a glittering career so far with all the major tournaments that you've won. But one thing that is missing is a match play final. Is that an extra incentive to go and get the win on Saturday?
Yeah, there's a lot of things missing. There's still a Premier League title missing. There's still a match play missing. There's still a European Championship missing. There's still many things missing from my career, to be honest. But I'm only 29, so I've got many, many years to put that right. But this is definitely something that's missing. And if it happens this year, absolutely over the moon. I'll be so pleased. It's been an incredible 12 months. If it's not this year, I'll walk away and still work hard in the future years to win as much as I can, because when I've achieved all the things I've achieved already, world champion, world number one, I'm just here to enjoy it, to be honest. I know sometimes on the stage it doesn't look like I'm enjoying it, but I am. Trust me, I'm really enjoying life. And if it doesn't happen this year, I go into my beautiful family and I get to spend some time with them. But of course, they're going to be here on Saturday now because school's finished. So my stepdaughter and my son could come back, and they would do it as a family. And if I win, I'll be able to win. If I don't, then I'll be back next year to make sure that I try again harder.
Luke, fantastic performance tonight. Very well done.
Thank you.
So, yeah, speaking of shoulders, we'll get onto that in a minute, but Luke Humphries, as we said, kept his shoulder against the door so Dimitri couldn't break through. And then there was that amazing moment in the game where Dimitri's going back-to-back 180s and time to just relax himself. And I don't think there was anything in terms of sportsmanship, gamesmanship, or whatever you want to call it. It was just him showing his management team or whoever he was looking to, I'm relaxed, I'm calm.
Yeah.
And then Luke Humphries pulls out the 106 and gestures in kind. And it just creates a nice little moment of the match where if any seriousness or any potential frustrations was just alleviated straight then.
And we live in a world now where TikTok and Instagram and all these social media platforms are so big now, and this is where a lot of people's lives actually, the majority of the time is spent on these platforms. And you think about that gesture, what happened with Luke Humphries and the shoulder movement after he hit that finish, and you just know that clip is going to get put onto TikTok and it's going to be used by so many people, and he knew that when he was doing it.
Yes, it's kind of like, congratulations, Luke, you are now a meme.
And I think dart players now are at a stage where they're happy being memes, and I'm sure there's going to be many more in the future as well. And Luke Humphries just playing up for the camera a little bit, but it was all in good spirit as well. Dimitri even was laughing at the end of it as well. So it's like both of them were absolutely fine with it, and it was nice to see as well because it added another factor to the game. Yeah,
it just added that other layer of the game. And when Luke eventually won, I mean, Dimitri was lifting Luke up in celebration. I was like, watch him. I mean, Luke is a tall person and Dimitri's, not that much tall. He's not taller at all. But yeah, he's just lifting him up, and it was all in good spirits, which is really nice to see after a very high competitive game like that.
Never seen a player so happy to lose before.
No. But that's Dimitri in a nutshell.
Absolutely.
But if you look at the stats there, 12 180s thrown by Luke Humphries, 9 by Dimitri. The ton 40s is obviously Luke Humphries' wheelhouse, and a full 10 more than Dimitri in that game, which is just amazing. And then you look at the highest checkout, obviously the 164 by Luke Humphries, which was tremendous. And then you look at the averages, 101.21 against 95.38. A truly high level game.
A third ton plus average as well for Luke Humphries in this tournament, 300 plus averages, and if you look at the checkout rate as well, 50%. this is where I feel that Luke Humphries has now developed in his game. We always knew that the scoring power with Luke Humphries was there, but it was all about him polishing up on the finishing, and having a 50% checkout rate in a game as long as that is nothing short of spectacular, and it's going to take some player to beat him in this competition.
Well, he has got some player to play against in the semi-final. I mean, this could be a potential match play classic, in my opinion. James Wade will be doing James Wade things, and people say, what does that actually mean? You know, James Wade is one of the toughest players to play against, and back in the day when he was winning the World Match Play, when he was winning Premier League titles, they called him the machine because he could keep going at a high level. Now Luke Humphries is doing the same thing. Now James Wade has alluded to he's got over a lot of personal illnesses and health issues and things like that, but I feel he's on the up, and his goal is to try and get back into that top 10, and I think that is a very, very possible goal, and he could do it this week.
Definitely. And James Wade as well, he seems like, as you say, he's in a very relaxed sort of frame of mind right now. I saw him in Blackpool on social media with his family, and obviously trying to take his mind away from the darts. And I do feel, though, that if James Wade is going to get past Luke Humphries, he's going to need that time machine back out again, because he needs something along the lines of the scoring that he produced against Ross Smith, because if he does play like he did against Danny Noppert or against Nathan Aspinall, I do feel that he will get beat. But we know the evidence is there that James Wade can raise his game, and he's going to have to do that again against the world champion.
So, people in Blackpool, if you do see a DeLorean out there, lump on James Wade. But a great game, a great contest between two people. Luke Humphries winning 16-10.
We have got an amazing competition here at the Darts World Match Play podcast. As you can see, we have got the Luke Humphries Red Dragon bundle. We have got the darts, the Firestone 2 case, the Pro Players shirt, and we've also got the Air Wing flights and the stems. To be within a chance of winning these amazing prizes, you need to follow us on our socials. We are on Twitter at darts_world, and there you will put in the answer of how many 180s will there be in this year's World Match Play. As we said, to be within a chance, you have to find us on our Twitter and make sure you follow, like and share the post to be within a chance of winning these amazing prizes from Red Dragon.
So we move over to the Oracle Head Neck Cancer UK moment of the day. And Harry, who have you got?
It's got to be James Wade for me.
Yeah.
I did not see that performance coming from him in that match with Ross Smith. You would have thought before the game that Ross Smith was going to be the player that had the better scoring stats, the 180s, the 140s, the tons. But James Wade, just from the minute the game started, the 180 in the very first visit, it was a sign of things to come.
Yeah, it was a really, really good display. As you said, the scoring went up drastically. I mean, he hit 3 180s in his first 2 rounds combined, and goes on to hit another 13 in this match. It's a bizarre stat, but James Wade has just been going through the gears, I feel. You know, it's not about how you start a tournament, it's how you end a tournament, and James Wade's finishing has been impeccable throughout, and this might not be the end, you know, when it comes to the next round. Again, he's the underdog going into this game against Luke Humphries. But if he can put this kind of performance in and then add a little bit extra, icing on the cake, so to speak, Luke Humphries is in for a battle.
I never would have thought that the longer format would bring the better out of someone. With the early games against Noppert and Aspinall, he was around the 90 averages, but with more legs involved, somehow the average has gone up to 100s. The scoring stats have gone up, and the finishing stats were there as well. He was above 40, I think it was 42% overall on the checkouts. So, in my opinion, it was the complete performance from James.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So there we have it, guys. The Oracle moment of the day is James Wade's superb performance against Ross Smith.
Jumping in the time machine.
Get the DeLorean!
Oracle Head Neck Cancer UK is one of the UK's newest charities that help improve head and neck cancer patients' quality of life and outcomes in the UK. They will achieve their mission through their RACE programme to overcome head and neck cancer crisis. Research projects, awareness campaigns, collaboration programmes and experience of patients of all backgrounds placed at the heart of everything. And this year alone they are awarding 8 scholarships to attend the ESTRO Head and Neck Oncology Conference, launching community and PPI projects to promote early diagnosis, organising the 2024 Oracle Head and Neck Cancer UK Oncology Meeting in York, and that's in September, sponsoring the National Head and Neck Cancer Audit Feasibility Study alongside with the Barno and other members of the Head Neck Cancer UK Coalition, and awarding new medical research grants, social detriments of health and lab-based treatment advances. Help us by helping support Oracle by donating on their website, or you can go onto their Instagram page, their Twitter page, Facebook and LinkedIn. For more information, send an email to info@oraclecancertrust.org. Thank you.
So we finish here with the first set of quarterfinals in the bag. 2 great matches, 2 great wins. James Wade in the time machine, pulling out all the stops in a fantastic game against Ross Smith, and then Luke Humphries gaining revenge on Dimitri.
Honestly, James Wade, I did not expect that at all. Going into the game tonight, I genuinely thought that it was going to be a case of Ross Smith being the power scorer and James Wade being James Wade, taking the chances. But James Wade, fantastic on his finishing with a 40% checkout rate again, and of course the 10 180s. And in the end, it was more 180s than Ross Smith overall in the time.
We've alluded to the time machine that James Wade has put himself in, and just before the match started, Sky put a clip on James Wade winning the event in 2007, and I was going, this is exactly how James was playing around that time. And I just thought that was a bit of a weird way to introduce or reintroduce James Wade to the crowd that may have not seen this version of James Wade.
I think there's a motive as well with James Wade. Obviously, when he was qualifying for the match play, he put in a lot of effort in regards to those 2 Pro Tours at the end. So he would have come into this tournament wanting to put out a statement, and that performance tonight, he certainly did that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to game 2, where you had the current world champion Luke Humphries taking on the UK Open champion in Dimitri Vandenberg, and there was also pre-match talk about shenanigans and slow play and such, but that didn't really happen, and Luke Humphries nipped it in the bud before it could become an issue for him.
Yes, and there was a stage in that game where there was nothing really to split them. It was 11-9 at one stage, and you probably sat there thinking, this is tightly poised, it could still go either way. But towards the end of the game, the 1-6-4 finish is a perfect example of Humphries shutting the door at his opponent, and he's into consecutive Winter Garden semi-finals.
And I did say this seemed significant when he hit that 1-6-4, and it truly was. And then the 2 180s that Dimitri thrown, and then with the old shoulder roll, and Luke Humphries came back with that 106 and right back at you with the shoulder roll, which was a really nice moment in the game. Was it needle? A little bit, but just within the context of the game. I think overall, it just showed how close of a contest it was, and how close they are in as friends off the hockey as well as on the hockey.
Definitely, they've played each other numerous times on the big stage, and you could say it was needle, but you wouldn't have noticed it with how both of them reacted when it happened on the stage. It was all taken in good spirit, and in the end it was Humphries. He proved too good for Vandenberg, and he has gained his revenge for what happened in the UK Open final.
So that is one semi-final confirmed, James Wade versus Luke Humphries. But tomorrow we've got another 2 exceptional quarterfinals. You've got Michael Van Gerwen versus Andrew Gilding, and then Michael Smith versus Rob Cross.
The repeat of the 2019 final in that second quarter final. Rob Cross against Michael Smith, and both of them two have been, especially Rob Cross after that last performance yesterday against Ryan Searle, and Michael Smith's looked really good in his two matches so far. So I feel like that was, in my opinion, one of the quarterfinals of the rounds.
So there we have it, guys. We've got more darts action coming your way here at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. But for now, I'm AJ Umston-Toft.
And I'm Harry Masterson.
And we'll see you in the next day, same round.